Welcome to Build a Great Company. In the previous two videos, we've explored, well, what is a great company? And then breaking it down into the component of what is a company. And there are clues in that video that lend itself to this. What is a great team? And I want to talk about that. And just depending where you are in, if you're a startup, if you've been in business for a long time or somewhere in between, I think you're going to get some great help here to start thinking about how the team operates and what are some characteristics you would want in a great team. But first, let's go to when you got to hire somebody. Typically you're going to analyze the position, list the qualifications, what are all the requirements of the job, here's who we're looking for, target all of that, place ads, start getting in resumes, reviewing them. You're looking at who is the best qualified person. In other words, I've got a round hole and I'm looking for the roundest peg I can find to slide into that hole. And if they're a square peg, yeah, that's not going to work. Triangles don't work either. Octagons, you get the idea. Well, who are really the right people? And in the previous video, I talked about a rock tumbler that the director of this ranch had. And if you heard, I just sort of mentioned briefly, there were some rocks that never really polished up. There were some wrong rocks. Well, how did I know that? I want to tell you the story. So one day, the director and I are walking along the river. And let me just kind of help your visualization there. These are Texas rivers, and we call them rivers in Texas, but these are in the hills, and they're more like streams. And if it's a drought, it may just be a riverbed. Anyhow, there are lots of rocks. And we're walking along, and he looks down, and he goes, "Oh, look." And he picks up a rock and almost to himself says, "Oh, this would be good for the tumbler." And he drops it in his pocket. And I go, wait, I don't know what we were talking about, but I was like, wait a minute. You can't just look at all these rocks. I mean, billions of rocks, and go, out of all of them, that one? Well, what about this one? And what about that one over there? It was pretty funny. And he goes, well, look, I go, how do you know what are the right rocks? And he goes, well, I've been doing this a long time. And I've discovered some rocks just never polish up and some rocks just fall apart. And I've gotten pretty good about those. So in Texas, there's like limestone in a lot of places, and it can be very compressed and very tight and very hard. But when you start putting it under constant pounding, it just crumbles and falls apart. And most rocks never really polish up, was what he was telling me. And so it takes a real eye to spot a rock that he thinks will polish up. So he pulls it back out of his pocket and says, okay, look, you see under all the layers here, and there was all this, crud and, this was a very ugly looking rock. He goes, can you see kind of that little red tint? And I go, oh yeah, I can. He goes, this could be a rock that'll polish up and be nice and red. It's kind of got the right shape and stuff like that. And I go, well, how could you really know? He goes, well, the only way you could really know is you crack the rock open, but then that ruins the rock. So you can't do that. Now, here's the key. Is that even with experience, you're not always going to know the right person to bring in to your rock tumbler and begin polishing them up. And in fact, just like great rocks that polish are somewhat rare, out of all of those rocks, he picked up that one. Here's the thing. You can't just go grab any rock. And so who are you looking for? And what do they have about them? So let's go in a whole different direction. I don't know if you've had this experience, but I've been like in an Uber and just so impressed with the Uber driver. Like, oh my gosh, I would love to have someone like this guy on my team. Or you meet someone in a hotel who's working there, and they're, I don't know, they're helping everyone with the guests with their luggage or in the breakfast room or whatever. And you just watch them and you're just like, man, they are just amazing. Or they're behind the counter and the way they just solve every problem, and you're looking at how they interact with people and stuff, and you're like, that's a great person. I want that person on my team. I want someone like that. And it may be impossible. They may be in another city, another country, or whatever, and you can't bring them on. But the point that I'm getting to is, what are those characteristics? What do you like about them? And here's the thing, is that you can start to know what great people are going to look like on your team. If you're talking, let's say you're interviewing someone to hire them, and you're telling them about your vision, are they getting excited about that? We want to be one of the greatest service companies, and they go, oh, wow, that's awesome. I'd love to do that. That sounds like, man, I have been looking a long time for a company like that. That's a good clue. If you tell them the vision and they just sort of yawn, well, they're probably not the right person. If you've been doing this your company for a while, and you're now ready, you're going like, okay, look, we've been good, but I want to go to great. I want to make this into something, then you're going to need to find people who have that characteristics. And it's going to be things like, they're going to lift the spirits. They're going to bring an optimism, a hope, a camaraderie. They're going to enjoy you. You're going to enjoy them. They're energizing to be around, and they get energized by you. Now look, not everybody gets energized by me. Not everyone gets energized by you. Different people react to different people different ways. So you're looking for the right combination of people. A little bit more on this is that as you bring on great people, so you might have this vision, be a great service company. Okay. All right. Well, that vision, these great people will make it even greater. And they will help you flesh out the direction more and get you there faster. And they bring a lift to the whole thing. The wrong people are drag on the whole thing. It's like you got to sort of drag them along and hope they come around. After a while, you're going to have to get the wrong people out of the company. And oftentimes they'll self-select themselves out, like the rock that just sort of crumbles. I mean, okay, they're now powder, they're gone. I remember I had a sales team that I was trying to bring up. It was in a very low state, so it was needing a turnaround. And so I started bringing in training and all sorts of enthusiastic things and stuff like that. And I started noticing something. I started getting resignation letters on my desk, and 2 or 3 left pretty quickly when they found out they were going to have to start doing some real work. Like there was actually sales goals that they needed to, we were going to really help them and they were going to make more money and this was going to be, Here's the thing is that, and some of the wrong people are like, let's just use the sales again, maybe your best salesperson, but they just create a contentiousness on the team. They keep everyone on edge. They're negative. Nothing's ever right. Oh, well, look, life's too short. Okay. And great people everybody's going to be attracted to great people. And so I want to encourage you in that. If you'd like some ideas and help on this at all, or just a quick little conversation, go to livetrulyfree.com and click on the Let's Chat button. Set an appointment. I'd love to chat with you about it. Also, please leave some comments especially if you've got questions. Leave a question and I will try to address it in an upcoming video. Okay. So next up, what's a great leader?